2 years ago, Toyota's Akio Toyoda called electric vehicles a mistake. He got mocked, he got protested, he got pushed out of his own company. The twist? That same company just dropped a car for under $18,000, charging in 10 minutes and spooking Tesla and BYD. Car lovers, new or diehard, here's how he pulled it off. The man who called EVs a mistake. Let's rewind because you need to understand who Akio Toyoda actually is before any of this makes sense. This isn't some random executive reading from a script written by a PR team. Akio Toyoda is the grandson of Toyota's founder. He's raced cars himself under a pseudonym just to understand what his engineers were building. He spent his entire life inside this company. And when the whole world went electric vehicle crazy, he did something almost nobody else in his position was willing to do. He said no, not no to electric cars completely, but no to the idea that every single car on the planet needed to be a battery-powered EV by a government-mandated deadline. While Tesla was being treated like a religion, and every legacy automaker was scrambling to announce their own EV lineup, Toyota stood up at Toyota's annual meeting and basically told the room, banning gas cars isn't the answer. Reducing emissions is the answer. And there's more than one way to do that. Think about how bold that actually was. Investors were furious. A Danish pension fund managing close to $20 billion in assets publicly demanded answers from Toyota about what they called an anti-EV stance. Environmental groups organized against him. Political pressure built from multiple directions, especially out of markets pushing hard mandates for all-electric sales by 2030. And eventually, Akio Toyoda stepped down as CEO, replaced by Koji Sato, while Toyoda moved into the chairman role. To a lot of people watching from the outside, that looked like a defeat. The old guy who didn't understand the future got shown the door, right? Except here's the part almost nobody talks about. Akio Toyoda didn't step back from the company. He didn't disappear. He kept pushing the same message from a different chair, and Toyota kept building in the background exactly what he'd been talking about the whole time. He wasn't anti-technology. He was anti-rushing, and there's a massive difference between those two things. While the loudest voices in the industry were calling him a dinosaur, Toyota was quietly running the numbers. And those numbers told a very different story than the headlines did. Why Toyota bet everything on hybrids instead. So, if Toyota wasn't just being stubborn, what was the actual plan? To answer that, we have to go back further than the EV boom. We have to go back to 1997. That's the year Toyota launched the Prius, the world's first mass-produced hybrid car. At a time when every single automaker on Earth was building nothing but gas and diesel engines, Toyota built something that combined a battery and a combustion engine to boost mileage and cut emissions. People thought it was a weird little science experiment. It wasn't. It was the opening move in a strategy that would take almost 30 years to fully pay off. Here's the logic, and it's actually pretty simple once you hear it laid out. Toyota looked at the real world, not just wealthy neighborhoods in California or Norway, and asked a basic question. Does everyone actually have access to reliable EV charging right now? And the honest answer, even today, is no. Most of the world doesn't. Huge parts of the United States don't have consistent fast charging infrastructure. Most of Africa doesn't. Huge parts of South America and Asia don't either. If you're building cars for the entire planet, and Toyota genuinely is, a car that needs a charging station you might not find isn't actually progress for most of your customers. It's a risk. A hybrid solves that problem instantly. It runs on gas when it needs to and recharges its own battery as you drive. No charging anxiety, no waiting around at a station, and still a real cut in fuel use and emissions. A typical hybrid burns 30 to 40% less fuel than a comparable gas-only car. That's not a small number. That's a meaningful dent in your carbon footprint without asking a single customer to change their entire lifestyle. And Toyota's hybrids didn't just work on paper. They worked in the real world for decades, with battery packs that comfortably lasted 7 to 10 years and maintenance costs that stayed low. Cars like the Camry Hybrid, The Corolla hybrid, the RAV4 hybrid, these weren't experiments anymore. They were some of the most trusted vehicles on American roads. Now here's where it gets interesting. While everyone was watching Tesla's stock price and BYD's expansion numbers, Toyota quietly kept being the biggest car company on the planet. Full stop. In 2024, Toyota sold roughly 10.3 million vehicles worldwide. Tesla sold about 1.8 million. BYD sold around 3 million. Add Tesla and BYD together, and Toyota still outsold both of them combined by a wide margin. That's not a company that was losing the race. That's a company that decided the race everyone else was running wasn't actually the whole race. But sales numbers alone don't win the next decade. Technology does. And this is where Toyota's supposedly boring hybrid strategy turns out to have been buying them something a lot more valuable than time. The secret weapon Toyota was building in the shadows. Here's the twist nobody saw coming. While Toyota was publicly playing it safe with hybrids, it was pouring billions of dollars into research and development on a completely different kind of battery. Not the lithium-ion battery every EV on the road uses today. Something Toyota believes could leapfrog the entire industry. Solid-state batteries. Let's break down what that actually means, because the difference matters a lot more than it sounds like it should. A traditional lithium-ion battery, the kind in your Tesla, your Ford Lightning, your BYD, uses a liquid electrolyte to move ions back and forth and generate power. That liquid is part of why these batteries take so long to charge, why they degrade over time, and why, in rare but very real cases, they can catch fire. A solid-state battery replaces that liquid with a solid material instead. That single change unlocks faster charging, higher energy density, and a much lower fire risk, all at the same time. Toyota claims its solid-state technology will allow a full charge in around 10 minutes, with a range pushing past 1,200 kilometers, which is somewhere around 750 miles on a single charge. Sit with that for a second. Right now, most Tesla owners are looking at 30 to 40 minutes for a meaningful fast charge and somewhere around 250 to 300 miles of real-world range. Toyota is talking about cutting the wait time by 2/3 and nearly tripling the range in the same breath. If that number holds up in mass production, and that's a real if we'll talk about honestly later in this video, it doesn't just compete with Tesla's charging speed and range. It makes those numbers look like they're stuck a full generation behind. And Toyota isn't just talking about this technology in a lab somewhere. They've built an entire dedicated division called the BEV Factory, focused purely on battery electric vehicle production, using robotics and AI to build these cars at real scale, the same kind of manufacturing muscle Tesla built its reputation on. They've also developed a new dedicated EV platform called ETNGA, engineered specifically for how batteries need to sit in the frame of a car, balancing weight, safety, and range in a way that a converted gas car platform simply can't match. On top of that, Toyota has been working with Japanese tech giants like Panasonic, Denso, and Sony to build out the digital cockpit and driver assistance software that Tesla made its name on. That's the piece Tesla still leads on today, no question. But hardware is the hard part to build. Software is the part you can catch up on if the foundation underneath it is strong enough. And Toyota just spent 30 years building that foundation. So here's the real twist in this whole story. The company that got dragged online for refusing to go electric was quietly assembling the exact pieces it would need to go electric on its own terms, at massive scale, the moment the technology and the market were actually ready. And in 2025, that moment arrived. Which brings us to the car that's actually causing all this panic in boardrooms from Austin to Shenzhen. The BOMBSHELL, Toyota's $17,999 car. On May 16th, 2025, Toyota launched a car in China called the BZ5, and within weeks it had automotive analysts across the globe recalculating their entire forecast for the EV market. Here's why. The Toyota BZ5 is a fastback crossover, sleek pointed headlights, smooth body lines, a sloping roofline that gives it a genuinely premium look. And its starting price is right around $18,000. Some listings put the entry trim as low as $17,999. Let that number sit next to a Tesla Model Y, which starts north of $40,000 in most configurations. Toyota didn't just undercut Tesla. Toyota built a car that costs less than half of what Tesla's most popular model costs, and packed it with tech that has no business being in a car at that price. Under the hood, or rather under the floor, the BZ5 runs on Toyota's ET-NGA platform we just talked about, paired with a battery supplied by, of all companies, BYD. It's their LFP blade battery, the same lithium iron phosphate cell technology that made BYD famous for safety. This battery is built to withstand far more charge cycles than a standard lithium-ion pack, carries a dramatically lower fire risk, and still charges up to 80% in under 30 minutes. Two competitors, Toyota and BYD, working together on the exact car that's now threatening to squeeze both Tesla and the rest of the industry from the bottom of the market. And the tech inside isn't stripped down just because the price is low. The BZ5 comes with an advanced driver assistance system, a full digital instrument cluster, a large touchscreen infotainment display, voice control, over-the-air software updates, and mobile app connectivity, features that used to be reserved for cars costing 2 or 3 times as much. Toyota also built it toward 5-star safety standards, with multiple airbags, lane keep assist, and automatic emergency braking as standard equipment, not an expensive add-on package buried in the fine print. Now, let's be fair and put this in real context, because that's what separates an honest breakdown from just chasing hype. The BZ5 launched in China first, not the US. American buyers can't walk into a Toyota dealership and drive one home tomorrow, and current trade policy around Chinese-linked EV components makes a direct US launch at that exact price complicated, at best, in the near term. This is a global chess move, not an overnight disruption of your local Toyota lot. If it expands into Southeast Asia, Europe, and eventually finds its way into other markets, and Toyota has already signaled plans to push it into more countries across Asia, that's when the real pressure starts building on Tesla and BYD's home turf. But here's why it still matters enormously, even before it crosses the ocean. It proves the math works. It proves that a company with Toyota's manufacturing scale, Toyota's reliability reputation, and Toyota's global service network can build a genuinely modern EV, loaded with real technology, at a price point that makes a $40,000 EV start to look like a luxury indulgence rather than the future of transportation. That's the kind of proof of concept that forces every single competitor to react. The global rollout that's putting Tesla and BYD on notice. Now zoom out, because this BZ5 story isn't happening in a vacuum. It's landing at the exact moment the rest of the EV industry is quietly stepping on the brakes. Look at what's been happening across the board. Lucid cut its production targets by roughly 30%. General Motors delayed the electric Chevy Silverado launch by an entire year. Ford killed off F-150 Lightning production for a stretch after reportedly losing around $36,000 on every single unit they sold. Unsold EVs have been piling up on dealer lots across the country, while demand cools faster than most manufacturers projected just a couple years ago. Meanwhile, Toyota is walking into this exact environment with a strategy that looks less like panic and more like patience finally paying off. Toyota has factories, parts suppliers, and dealership networks in nearly every major country on Earth. Tesla still needs massive capital investment and years of regulatory approval every time it wants to build a new gigafactory in a new country. BYD's strength is mostly concentrated in China and a handful of international markets it's aggressively expanding into. Toyota is already everywhere: the US, Europe, India, Africa, Latin America. When Toyota decides to scale EV production globally, it doesn't need to build that infrastructure from scratch. It already has it. That's the piece a lot of headlines miss when they compare these companies purely on flashy specs. Tesla changed the world by proving EVs could be desirable. BYD changed the world by proving EVs could be affordable at scale in China. But Toyota might be positioned to change the world a third time by proving EVs can be affordable, reliable, and available basically everywhere on the planet, all at once, backed by a company people have trusted with their family car for 2 generations. That trust is not a small factor either. Tesla still deals with recurring complaints about panel gaps, paint quality, and delivery delays. Toyota has spent decades building a reputation as one of the most dependable car brands on the road. Period. When a first-time EV buyer, someone who's genuinely nervous about batteries, nervous about range, nervous about resale value, is choosing between a flashy startup and the brand that built their parents' Camry that's still running strong at 200,000 miles, that trust becomes a massive competitive advantage. Now, before we get into the payoff of this whole story, if you're the kind of person who actually cares about where the car industry is heading and not just what's trending on social media this week, do me a favor, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me whether you think Toyota's slow and steady bet is going to pay off, and if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe and tap that notification bell so you catch our breakdowns the moment these stories drop. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it means a lot. Okay, back to the story. So let's go back to where we started this video. 2 years ago, Akio Toyoda stood in a room and told the world that rushing every car on the planet into a battery pack wasn't the answer. He got labeled a dinosaur, he got pushed out of his own CEO chair over it. And now, the company he built spent that exact time developing solid-state battery technology that could charge in 10 minutes and run for 750 miles. It built an entire dedicated EV manufacturing division. It built a modern electric platform from scratch, and it launched a car, the BZ5, that costs less than $18,000 while offering safety features, driver assistance tech, and connectivity that used to be reserved for cars twice the price. That's the twist. The man everyone thought was stuck in the past was actually the one playing the long game the entire industry was too impatient to play. Toyota didn't refuse the EV future. Toyota refused to be rushed into a version of the EV future that wasn't ready for everyday people yet. And now that the technology, the battery costs, and the global supply chain have all caught up to what Toyota was quietly building, the company is stepping onto the field with a car that's making both Tesla and BYD recheck their pricing strategy. Is Toyota guaranteed to win this race outright? No, nobody knows that yet, and if a channel tells you they do, they're selling you certainty that doesn't exist in an industry moving this fast. Tesla still leads on software and autonomous driving. BYD still leads on raw battery manufacturing scale. But Toyota just proved something that neither of those companies has proven yet, that you can build an EV people around the entire world can actually afford without cutting corners on safety or reliability. And that might end up being the thing that decides who actually wins the EV race, not who moved first, but who figured out how to bring everyone else along with them. So that's the real story behind Toyota's bombshell, and honestly, it's a lot more interesting than Toyota built a cheap car. It's a story about patience actually paying off in an industry that usually rewards whoever screams the loudest first. If you learned something from this one, or even if it just made you look at Toyota a little differently, that's exactly why we make these videos here on MotorZen. We're not here to hype up whatever car gets the most clicks this week. We're here because we genuinely love this industry, the engineering behind it, the strategy behind it, and the stories most channels rush past to get to the next headline. So if that's the kind of content you want more of, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you think Toyota's bet on patience is going to beat Tesla's head start, or is this too little, too late? I read every single one of these, and honestly, Some of the best video ideas on this channel have come straight from you guys in the comments. If you want to go deeper on this rivalry, go check out our breakdown on BYD's global expansion right after this, because what's happening between these three companies right now is genuinely one of the biggest stories in the entire auto industry, and it's only getting started. Thanks for watching, thanks for being part of this community, and I'll see you in the next one.